that if Rambam, Maimonides, was around today, what would he think about this whole debate on whether Hashem needs our mitzvahs, or needs our avoda, or just needs us? So to start this, so the Midrash learns from here something very interesting. I have highlighted it here in the middle. Because the attributes of HaKadosh Baruch Hu are unlike the attributes of flesh and blood. The attribute of flesh and blood is that he instructs others to perform, but he doesn't do it. You see this all the time. You go do this, go do that. I'm going to sit back and whatever. I'll tell you what to do and do as I say, not as I do. You know, they tell you not to do it as a parent. But Hashem is not so. What he performs, he says to Yisrael, to the Yidden, to perform and to observe. So what does this tell you? And with famous examples, it says Hashem puts on tefillin. How could Hashem put on tefillin? Well, there is spiritual tefillin, but he holds to halacha. Here's the source right here, Shmos Rabbah 30-9, that Hashem holds to halacha when he tells us to do something. So let's look at an interesting pasuk. In Vayikra chapter 25, this is Parshas Bahar. For they are my servants, whom I brought out of the land of Egypt. They shall not be sold as a slave is sold. So Hashem's telling us we're his Eved. And there's plenty of examples. You see in Tehillim, a very famous one. You see here at Boker Raton Synagogue, they have above the Aron and others as well. Ivdu es Hashem b'simcha, you should serve Hashem with joy. Elsewhere in Tehillim it says, Ivdu es Hashem b'yira, with awe. And there's many examples of this. We're called an Eved Hashem. We talk about this all the time. We're an Eved. We're a servant. The next line, the very next pasuk, 43. You shall not work him with rigor, and you shall fear Hashem. You should not work him with ferach. So Rashi says something interesting, something that's not necessary. Okay, but that's Rashi's interpretation, and that's great. He says it's not necessary. So what he's saying, you can't give your Eved work to do that's not necessary, which the Midrash is saying that's the tendency for people to do. And in addition to that, and he goes on, but the Rambam is going to expound on this as well. This is Halachas Avadim, Perak Aleph, Sif Vav. All these, the last two sources are from Chabad.org. It's from Rabbi Tauger's translation of the Mishnah Torah for the Rambam. It is forbidden for any Hebrew servant to make any Hebrew servant perform excruciating labor, cruel work. What is that defined as? Work, labor that has no limit, or it's unnecessary. And is asked of the servant with the intent to give him work so he will not remain idle. Just keep busy. It doesn't mean anything to me. Based on the above, the sages say that a master, or in Hebrew it's an adon, should not tell an Eved, especially a Jewish Eved, keep hoeing the vines till I come. Because he didn't place a limit. Just keep going until I tell you to stop. Instead, he should tell him, hoe until this and this time, or until you reach this and this place. There has to be a limit. Similarly, you should not tell him dig in this place if he doesn't need that activity, just to dig, just to waste his time. Even telling him to warm a drink for him, or to cool one off, if he doesn't need it, it's also forbidden. And it reflects a violation of the commandment, as we just saw in Vayikra, do not impose excruciating work onto him. Thus, a Hebrew servant may not be compelled to only perform a limited and necessary task. So, let's put this together. We're an Eved Hashem. We're a Jewish servant to Hashem. He is our ultimate Adon. And as you saw from the Midrash, he holds to halacha. He doesn't ask us to do something that he himself doesn't do. So if he holds to halacha because it's his ratzon and his chachma, right? So and it came from him, and he says this is excruciating work. Well, if he tells us to do a service, like put on tefillin, or keep Shabbos, or keep kosher, don't mix milk and meat, like, etc., etc., eat matzah, Pesach's coming up. What is it telling you? That it must be necessary to him. How could he go and command us that if you have a Jewish servant, you can't tell him, give him work you don't need, just to waste his time, or just to make excruciating? So that's based from him, from his goodness, right? Everyone says he's all good. He's omnipresent, omniscient, and he's the smart. He's everything, every attribute, and beyond the attributes, really. So his halacha, to keep to his own halacha, means that when he tells us to do something, he needs it. The next question is it a essential need? or is it a need that got generated later? That's a topic for another video, but just want you to really reflect on this. Based on halacha, and the Rambam codifies it in Rashi comments here, that if you have a Jewish servant and you see the two psukim are right next to each other, that he says, you're my servant, and then if you have a servant, what do you learn from there? By the fact that they're right next to each other, you can go and very easily learn that the laws that apply, that we have to act unto others, he himself is acting unto us. So when he tells you to put on tefillin, it means he needs it. If he tells you to, whatever it is you need to do it. And it's not just about you, it's not just about your benefit. It really affects him. Shkoyach. Remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, the whole thing. It really helps get the message out. Feel free to comment and give any other suggestions on videos that you want to see.